Christine, thank you for joining me.
Of course, Chris. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.
So Christine is super good at filling events. She's been doing this for a while and she absolutely just crushes it. So Christine, how did you get like into doing the event thing anyways, like in the beginning? Like how did this all start?
Wow, this goes way back. So it actually started because I started an online business, an online clothing boutique, and I wanted a place to sell my clothes in person and to meet people
Hmm.
because I didn't want it to just be online. So there was nothing where I am locally, and pop-up shops were a big thing. They were just starting in like New York and California and everything. And I'm located in Naples, Florida, which is not very big city, but I just decided to start it. I had a few other friends of mine that had just started businesses as well. And I was like, do you want to try this with me? And the response was huge. I mean, I just shared it on social media and we kind of all shared it to our audiences. And people were coming and so excited to just shop and meet new people and, find new products that were local. And so eventually, I think I started that in December, and by July, I actually just said, I really don't even care about this online store. I just love doing these events and seeing entrepreneurs win, because if
Hmm.
the events weren't successful, like if they weren't doing well, then I wasn't successful either. But they were doing amazing. So this was just what I love to do and see the wins all the time.
That's so cool. So I know like that's a big thing of what you help people do is like get people to actually show up to their events. What do you think is like some of the biggest factors to getting people to actually show and then like people to like not like there's always that party that's like nobody shows up and then some are just
Yeah.
stacked. Like what's the biggest indicator?
It's all about exclusivity. I talk about this actually in the masterclass. It's called the FOMO method that I use, and it's really creating that fear of missing out. And so a lot of it actually has to do with keeping things private. I
Mm,
love keeping things private, having an application for people to join these things before. I use a lot of, direct contact with people and inviting them to this exclusive experience. And I say keep it limited, but I mean, I have 100 people at my brunches, but still,
mhm.
there are people that can't get in. So that is limited, right?
Yeah. So exclusivity. That's funny because that's like the opposite of what you would think would be the right tactic.
I
Because I
know,
think
but
most people
this,
are like, let's get flyers out to everybody, right?
yeah, I don't do ads. I don't really even post that much on social media. It's a lot of back end. So.
Yeah. Who do you help primarily? Like, who do you like to help, I guess?
I love female entrepreneurs. Any women that want to grow their businesses, it's my passion to just help them realize the tools that are out there and bring them to them so that they could really grow. And it's a lot about connecting with other entrepreneurs as well. Because when we connect, that's how we can even grow more. Just like you and I are here now, we're sharing it to our audiences, and this will be, great.
What made you decide to narrow down to like female entrepreneurs?
I guess because I am a female, no. I
For sure.
just
Was
I
there
it was
anything more to it than that?
it was just the space that I started when I did my clothing line. I was really, focusing on getting women to my events to shop. And so it just became this thing of just who do I know? And there's a lot of women, that had their businesses, and that's really why it was focused on that. And then just that connection of it was just a safe space, it felt like, when it was just women. They're
Hmm.
able to open up a little bit more, I feel like sometimes in that space. It creates a different atmosphere. And so I use that passion of mine personally, going into my story a little bit. I was actually in a relationship when I started these things, and I really thought I was being supported with that, but actually I was being really suppressed. And so I left that relationship about a year and a half ago. And once I left, I was able to see everything so much more clearly. I got this just like extreme passion to be able to help other women to really just grow and have those tools that they really don't need to rely on anyone else but themselves. So that's kind of why I focus on that even more, because I was in this situation where I wasn't able to be my true potential. And I just want women to realize like there's so much more for them out there. And that's why, us being even in a mastermind together, just being able to bring that information to them,
Mhm.
that they might not even know exists, and to
Yeah.
help them.
I'm just curious, like if you are open to sharing about it, but like in what ways did it hinder you when you weren't able to, what you just mentioned, like be yourself or be fully yourself?
Um, so for example, I started my women in business brand while I was in that relationship, and I didn't even realize what I had created. I was very isolated in that relationship. While I was going to my events, that was pretty much it that I was doing. I was pretty isolated from my friends, my family, and it was very much in this relationship. I mean, I wasn't even doing things with him. So, um, it was very difficult, and I just didn't have my voice. Like for me, I just have so much passion, and I like family and friends are the best thing to me. And in that relationship, I didn't even know who I was. It was really just surviving
Hmm.
in this relationship. I actually left that relationship twice, three times.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when I left the second time, everyone said to me, like, we weren't even recognizing you. I was losing myself in that relationship because there were a lot of things that were happening behind the scenes that I was just basically surviving in that relationship.
Mhm.
There was, I don't know how much I'm going to say on that,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a good situation. And so when I left this last time, I was able to see clearly, and I was just like, I can't even believe what I have in front of me, what I created for these women. And so it was almost, I don't want to say surface level before, it was brunches and things like that before. But when I left, I started my conference. I really was like, I started doing women in wealth events, just really giving power to women. I worked with Morgan Stanley. They're the ones that would come in and talk to women about investments and,
Mhm.
wealth planning. I just had this passion after I left to be able to be like, you can really do anything you want, and I'm going to help you. Because when I was in that situation, like sometimes you think like there's nobody there to help. The women don't see or know where the resources are, and I want to be able to give that to them.
I love
It's
that.
kind of
So you mentioned something that was kind of important earlier. So you were kind of saying that, I mean, you've left this relationship a couple times. You don't have to share on a personal level, but I think this might help a lot of women. Is you also said that you felt like you were being supported. So like in what ways, like disguised as support? Like what actions or what things were
so
disguised as support were you?
So he would, yeah. So he would, give me some ideas for the business here and there. So it felt like, oh, he really like appreciated this and what I wanted to do. But at the same time, it was just that. It was almost like, you know, um, oh, you can do this or you can do that. But then he wasn't ever like present to do that. For me as a someone that would end up being in a relationship, that's like working together. For example, with his
Mhm.
business, I was always there. I was like helping him with his business. We were both using high level, which we found out we just kind of like stumbled across them together. He had a business and we found it separately. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd like geek out on funnels and things. And I'm like, let me do this. Let's like sit and do this together. And there was never really the time for me. And also it's actually crazy because he tried to take responsibility for my business and said how he got me all this money for my business.
Mhm.
And it's really funny. My lawyer's like, "Oh, can you actually show us that? Because it doesn't exist, like what you're
Mhm.
talking about." It was an insane experience. It was just a lot of manipulation and gaslighting
I
in the
see.
relationship.
Okay.
So that's why I say I left multiple times. There was there was always that like, oh, but you didn't try this for your son or you didn't do that. So, um, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm never gonna have somebody say that to me.
Mhm.
So, so I went back. And then, it was never about my events. It was really just about him. And so there was no real support on that. It was me. I mean, I ran the business and did everything myself, just me.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. I see.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. Um,
Yeah.
if let's say, because you know how to fill events, like if you didn't have your audience, you
Hmm.
didn't have anything, you were starting over, what would like be your execution game plan to be able to fill an event and sell them something at the end?
Definitely. Okay. So I'm sure everyone listening, do you know 5 people?
Mhm.
Right?
I met
I
five
would,
people once.
right? Maybe. So once you have your event and your purpose for the event, then I would think about 5 people I know that either are perfect to be part of this event, and they probably know 5 to 10 people that would be perfect for the event too. So you reach out to them and let them know this is an exclusive event. I think that this would be perfect for you to attend. And if you have a friend or you want to come with someone else that you think would be perfect, let them know also. So now
Mhm.
you're doing a personal invite and then you're letting them know that they can bring someone else, right? Because that is already giving another audience. They're going to invite people. You can tell them here, you can send this to them to sign up. But let me know because it's exclusive. We only have a limited number of seats left, right? And you got to keep that, the urgency too. And then honestly, I would look, depending on what niche you're in, look if there's a local, publication or you have someone else that can complement your business and offer them tickets to your event for their clients.
Mm,
And it gives them, oh, this will create even more value for your clients. I think they would really find value in that. I actually did that for my first event. I wanted 50 people in the room. And I reached out to, whoever I knew and thought would be a great fit, told them that. And there's something called the Scout Guide locally. I knew the owner of the Scout Guide and I said that to her and she focuses on female and male entrepreneurs, but I said, I'm sure you have some clients that this could really benefit. And so how do you feel about partnering with me and giving them some extra value because they already pay her,
mhm.
and
Okay.
now they're in your audience, and now you just got 50 new people from maybe 5 people that you knew.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you find that one person that has the audience that you want, and then you make a relationship with them and get all their audience on board. And
Definitely.
that's a definitely a good way to
There are a
leverage.
lot of, I mean, there are a lot of ways to do it too.
Hmm.
Multiple ways other than just that. And
Yeah.
it's organic. You don't have to do the ads, you don't have to spend the money up front. I think a lot of people don't want to do events because they feel it's going to cost them a lot of money, with ads or just even setting up the event. And
Hmm.
honestly, you do events online and in person. I have my masterclass that I'm plugging right here for you. But it's if you want to be part of that, I'm actually sharing you all of the tips and the strategy that I use to fill your event, but not only fill it, sell tickets and make money before the event, and then how you can make 6 and 7 figure the day of your event.
Perfect. Yeah. And we'll definitely put that link in the description too. Um, I think a lot of times we kind of see an event, but we don't really know how much work happened prior to the event. How much would you say is like a sweet spot to be able to spend time on the promotion leading up to the event? Like, is there a time where it's too much and is there a time where it's too short?
I would say if you're going to do the invites, I would say a few weeks before is totally fine. It keeps it in their mind. It's not too long away for people to wait.
Mhm.
So maybe 3 weeks, start getting those messages out to people, and you can fill your event without any promotion
Mhm.
on social media. When you first start, you you might not even need to post anything on social media. You could do all direct messaging. You could do text messaging. If you have an email list, you can do that as well.
Mhm.
Uh, a really amazing strategy that I feel a lot of people don't use are Facebook events. Create a Facebook event, get people to sign up. It's just this, I love it. It's a little pot of gold over there that people forget about. And
I
that's
forgot about
free. There's no cost. And people use Eventbrite too. But I really find value in the Facebook. You can share it to your page and wherever else, and people can see that event.
that.
And you can actually invite about 500 people. So depending how many people you have on Facebook, you can just press one button and it invites all of them. They get a message about it.
Mm, I forgot about that. I've used it
See?
before. I completely forgot about it.
So good.
Yeah. Do you like in-person or virtual events, or is it situational?
I like both. I love in person, I would say more because I'm all about the experience.
Mm,
And while you can have a great experience online too, it's something about just being in person that really takes it to the next level. You really get to see people, feel that energy more. And I just love that.
I
Like
agree.
radiating between everyone, right?
Yeah,
It was.
completely. No, I agree. I mean, I think when you're in the room physically with people, there's a lot of under the table conversations that you don't really
Yes,
catch. And I think those are the most valuable because some of the people that I've met in events, it's always been those conversations that have been the most important, not so much the keynote speaking.
definitely. It's where at your table, who you're with,
Mm,
because even when you're online, you're not seeing them in real life, just doing normal things. You're there specifically for that meeting. And I feel like when you break down those barriers and
mhm.
you're there to actually just sit at a table, connect, the real conversations start happening. It gets deeper and you really create those connections.
Yeah, completely agreed. Well, Christine, thank you so much for jumping on and having this conversation with me.
Thank you for having me.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on my website. It's christineirardi.com. Good luck spelling that. So we'll put that down. It's going to be a little difficult.
Perfect. Yeah, that's where you can find Christine. Thank you so much, Christine. And if you need help filling events and you're a female entrepreneur, we'll leave the link down in the description so that you can check out Christine. Thanks, Christine.